Lucy used to spend mornings mapping out system logic in her head, mentally tracing the path of a request before her fingers touched the keys. But as she began integrating an automated model into her workflow, that active mental mapping was replaced by a prompt window. She transitioned from building the thread to simply following the machine's lead. This shift changes the task's cognitive load. Building scripts from scratch requires active recall, the mental work of retrieving syntax. Relying on autocomplete shifts the brain into recognition memory, merely approving a suggested pattern rather than generating the solution. Over time, the lack of mental and physical repetition takes a toll. Simple language structures that were once muscle memory become harder to recall. When the network line goes dead, Lucy finds that the foundational ability to write those same parameters has slipped away. This creates a high-velocity output that looks like mastery. However, beneath the volume of code, the developer's own mental map of the system has been replaced by a black box. The initial data is intoxicating. This chart shows the massive, vertical spike in deployment velocity that occurs when a team begins using an autocomplete engine. Productivity metrics hit all-time highs. But as the code ships, a gap opens. Lucy can no longer explain the why behind the specific architectural choices the model made. She is no longer the architect, she is a passenger. She follows the system map provided by the model, even when she can no longer read the legend. High velocity masks the quiet attrition of engineering talent. By the time the metrics plateau, the ability to build without the proxy is gone. The danger of unverified code stays hidden as long as it remains in a local test. The true test occurs when that code is forced to handle a transaction database, processing millions of rows in real time. This flowchart shows the happy path. The model generates code handling a single packet with ease, passing every local check. But when this logic hits production, the happy path shatters. Thousands of concurrent requests hit the unoptimized nodes at once, turning local success into systemic failure. Probability machines optimize for the most likely local outcome, but they lack the foresight to harden a system against the cascading pressures of a massive million-row production load. As the database crashes, Lucy hits a wall. Instead of isolating the core logic error, she blindly copies the wall of error logs and begs the script for a new solution. This is the moment where diagnostic muscle is required, the ability to mentally trace a failure through the layers of the stack to find the root cause. But the assistant stays in a loop, offering more happy path variations that fail to address the core architectural weakness. The consequence is measurable. In these conditions, the validation track shows a drop of exactly 17 points. The machine cannot push the system back to stability because it doesn't understand the environment it's breaking. When the human mind buckles under this proxy load, the ability to repair the system vanishes. You cannot fix what you cannot trace. The production crash reveals a structural decay that has been accumulating since the first prompt. Inside the master branch, the codebase is bloated with 4 times the usual amount of duplicate blocks. The modular patterns and clean refactoring lines have been buried under mountains of automated boilerplate and fragile configurations. This technical debt leads to a collapse in confidence. Statistics show that 96% of teams are losing trust in these deteriorating systems, as even the documentation becomes a fragment of what it once was. This is cognitive debt. It is the long-term interest paid for the short-term velocity of outsourcing human understanding. A prompt operator is a passenger in a system they are supposed to lead. Step back from the autocomplete. Reclaim the responsibility of the individual line. Turning the analytical brain back online is the only way to reverse the decay of the codebase. Mastery of the outcome cannot be outsourced. You must own the logic you ship.